1015 FM KDWN.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the #1 professional wrestling radio show in Las Vegas. This is the Mark Hoke Show.
The Mark Hoke Show.
Filled with wrestling news, entertainment, and lots of Sin City surprises from inside the squared circle. Now, let's bring on the tag team of Andrew Fish Fane, Joe DeFalco, and your host, Mark Hoke.
All right, everybody. Good morning, Las Vegas. What's going on? Oh, man, I'll tell you what. The rings are full of people and wrestlers in this great city this weekend and, well, all the time, really. I mean, just an unbelievable weekend so far here in Las Vegas with Impact Wrestling being in town, and we are very happy to bring it all to you, the best in pro wrestling news and entertainment. I am Mark Hoke. Joe DeFalco, I think, still conscious. Joe, how are you?
Yeah, I'm just getting conscious.
Well, there we go. That's a start. And we have sitting in today Brian Ronovech from Las Vegas Wrestling Scene. How are you, buddy?
I'm good, Mark. How are you?
Well, as you can tell, I'm hanging in there. I'm hanging in there. We got a big show today, man.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
This is going to be fun, and so much going on. We're going to be giving away some tickets to the Vegas Toy Show, along with a photo op with our very, very, very special guest coming up today. Sentimental value for yours truly, to say the least, as we will be joined by the WWE Hall of Famer, former WWE champion. Let's see. I mean, and I'll tell you, you could run off the list of other titles he's won. He was a NWA US champ, World Tag Team champion there, had that AWA America's Championship, just all sorts of titles for Sergeant Slaughter. This is going to be fun, guys.
Yeah, Sarge is great. He's a very unique character, did a lot of great things for wrestling, still does. He's one of the most visible former WWE stars out there right now, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. This is going to be a great time. And so we're going to hear from Sarge in the second hour, but this hour we will have your chance to win those passes. It's two-day passes, plus you get a free photo op with the Sarge, which, you know, I mean, for me, I can't wait. I cannot wait to meet this guy. I have a story to tell. I really do. I have an amazing story to tell.
Okay.
I can't believe you guys are all forgiving of what he did to this country.
Well, you know, Joe, we can't. We're not all perfect. We're not all perfect, you know. But I am going to ask him about that. It's really, when you think about that storyline, and you know, obviously, you know, Sarge had been a heel for a long time, and even when he started in the WWF. You know, he was going after Bob Backlund and had the Grand Wizard as his manager. I mean, he was still a bad guy for a long time until they did the face turn with going against the Iron Sheik, which led to that famous boot camp match at Madison Square Garden. You know, and then they kind of had a little falling out between Vince and Sarge. Sarge went to the AWA, and you know, and then off and on for all those years since. But that was quite the stunning storyline when you think about that. You know, Sarge becoming the Iraqi sympathizer during the Desert Storm and all that crazy stuff, and you know, the death threats that he got. I mean, really was an unbelievable thing for Sarge to do, and I'm going to be very curious to hear his thoughts about what that process was like when Vince came to him and said, "We want to do this." You know, after the whole thing with the G.I. Joes and all that. I mean, I couldn't imagine what was going through his head.
Yeah, that was a pretty big turn. I mean, especially with all the equity he'd had with the fans going into it, I'm sure there was plenty of because you know what kind of backlash you're going to get. That's not your standard heel turn. That's almost like Joe was saying earlier, like a turn against the country. And at that time, there were still a lot of believers. You know what I mean? Yeah,
I mean, patriotism was at an all-time high. And, you know, so we're going to have fun talking to Sarge about that and a lot of other questions I'm really excited because I mean the one thing about Sarge too is just how much he spanned wrestling history. I mean he's back in the 70s and the early 80s, and from all the way from the NWA days, Mid Atlantic to today. I mean he still pops up on TV every once in a while. So this is going to be a lot of fun. I'm excited.
Hey, Joe, when you go in and you want to have someone make a turn, do you generally get much pushback? Like, how often? Does it go through smooth? Just curious.
In this day and age, they try to take it upon themselves. So it's like you kind of got to shut them down. There's been incidents where it's like, hey, you're the baby face. I'm going to do a low blow. And it's like, what are you doing?
Right.
And, obviously the best ones are the ones that are put together where there's numerous things. Jay Vidal, for example, with the Matt Vandegrift and Danny Limelight. It's like there's a lot of planning, and there's also a lot of it's very secretive because you don't want it to get out there because you don't want other people to find out to tell other people. And you try to keep it close to the vest. And, it's harder now just because there's such a gray area between babyface and heel to begin with. So it doesn't mean much if you're kind of not liked anyway. So it takes a special breed to go in there and make the fans hate you when they used to love you, and vice versa. It's like sometimes it's easy to turn just because people liked you anyway and they wanted to like you. So it's really, I think, more difficult now than it was, say, 20 years ago. Like when Sarge did what he did, there was I remember like, oh my God, he beat the Ultimate Warrior. Like, what is going on?
I was actually happy about that, by the way.
I thought it was one of the worst things ever. So and it was like, and I get it, and it was, and it set up another program. It set up the evil Sarge against Hogan, and it set up, Ultimate Warrior and Macho Man. So it made two programs out of it. But when you're younger, you're like, oh my God, I can't. Ultimate Warrior's losing because of this, and at that point, nobody took Sergeant Slaughter as like the guy who's going to become the heavyweight champion. The dirt sheets back in the day were Sergeant Slaughter's never coming back to WWE because he had WWF because he had the falling out with Vince McMahon, and information was far less than it is today on what was going on in the back alleys of the offices of the companies.
Yeah, and it's fascinating. We're kind of talking about the heel and face situation because we're seeing that play out in WWE right now with Sami Zayn and the Usos and that whole storyline that's evolved over a few year period of trying to keep when you're trying to keep somebody in a certain category and the fans just say no, we want to cheer for you. We actually, even though you're the bad guy, we like you. We were just at the Impact tapings, and by the way, don't forget you can still go tonight. There's the Fallout from No Surrender show this evening at Sam's Town, so you can still get tickets if you want to go. It's at 7 p.m. this evening. You're hearing, for example, we're hearing. I'm trying to think of some of the matches last night. Like for example, they had the Bullet Club and Motor City Machine Guns, and the crowd was absolutely split. And you hear that all the time, that fans, even though some people are supposed to be playing a certain role, that they just fight you to not let that happen. And it's got to be difficult at any level for from what you're doing, Joe, all the way up to WWE, when the fans are taking that and saying, no, this is we like this guy. No, we want or we hate this guy. You're making us like him, but we hate him. And that has to be so difficult for bookers to deal with when you're trying to tell a story and the fans want the story to go a different way.
Well, the thing is, like yesterday, when, obviously I sat there with watching Chris Bay with Ace Austin. I'm curious to what made television and what doesn't make television, because they came out and they cut a promo, which was total babyface promo. Chris Bay's from Vegas. This is what I've done in Vegas. I had my first match here. Chris Bay talking about setting up the ring there. And I'm pretty sure a lot of that doesn't make television because they're trying to get the crowd behind them. And the Machine Guns play total heels in the matches. And the Bullet Club are heels, but because of the promo and the history and even Ace Austin of winning, big matches in Sam's Town, they were portrayed as baby faces. So, I remember one time, I think it was at New Japan, same thing, one of our guys, Gregory Sharp, like they had him come out, and because people wanted to cheer Gregory Sharp because he's from Vegas, so that he came out before the cameras were rolling and basically bashed the fans that were there, so that way everybody understood, hey, this is the heel, please don't cheer him. It's kind of the subtle ways of trying to dictate who your babyface and heel is, and who you're trying to, establish in that matchup. And sometimes it's easily done, and sometimes you have no idea what the fans and how they're going to react to it.
Yeah, and of course, like I said, that's playing out right now in WWE with Sami Zayn, the Usos, and just how this whole thing has turned out. And, WWE managed to keep that twist going again this week on SmackDown with Jay playing it down the middle, and Sammy and Jimmy getting into it. I mean, that's storyline going on right now. Man, I cannot wait to see what happens at WrestleMania. I think in the past couple of years have been like, okay, it's WrestleMania time. But now, this year, guys, I am sitting here saying to myself, I can't wait to see what happens at the end of this thing. And and if it's going to be over at WrestleMania, this is going to be intriguing, Brian.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think one of the things too with heels is at some point you become too cool to boo, and you either come up with a catchphrase or something like that, where like Joe was saying, where Sharp bashed the fans. He didn't do anything to appeal to him. I think that's the key to staying heel, is not appealing to anybody else, And Sammy was supposed to be a heel, and he was a really good heel, but he's really funny. He said the Uzi stuff. He started going with things like that, and the fans loved him. So then you started seeing the Bloodline getting cheered, and they're really supposed to be heels. And Sammy just naturally ended up becoming a baby because that was just how it worked out, the way the character developed, the way the story developed. I think Mania is really exciting from top down. I'm very excited about it.
Yeah, we got another match that looks like coming up with Drew McIntyre and Gunther. And I'll tell you what.
That's intensity.
Oh, my God.
Man.
That is going to be just brutality. It's going to be hard-hitting. Now, this is why I was talking about Gunther back when he was Walter, because the dude just brings it every night. I mean, those kind of guys, Joe, those kind of guys are just one in a million. I mean, that match is going to be raising the Intercontinental title up for sure.
Well, I'm wondering at that point then what Sheamus going to do.
I don't know. That's a good question.
There's a bunch of matches and there's a bunch of things. We obviously see, Ray and the Kid are going to do their thing. Cross is kind of like, hey, he gets the win. Whoever thought you'd say, hey, Karrion Kross just won a match thanks to Dominic Mysterio. The strangest things have happened in WWE that you would never expect.
Yeah, that is for sure. Yeah. And before we go to break, there's one more matchup that I cannot believe this one's happening. This one I'm not excited about if they pull the trigger on this. Brock Lesnar, the Beast, the big man, the former world champ, Mr. Brutality, and Omos. Are you? That's got Vince stamped all over it. And Brian, it's funny, Brian. When I said that, I saw you shaking your head like you were going to vomit. What do you think of that one?
Well, I just think for Brock to flourish in match. I mean, really have to have somebody that can really, really work, that can work with somebody like him. I mean, he's just a great athlete. He's a different kind of talent. And Omos is just not even close to that. I just feel like this will be kind of like the way Brock and Goldberg were before with some of the stuff they did that I thought was pretty flat, you know? So, yeah, that doesn't excite me at all. I'd rather see Brock in something way better than that.
Joe, were you surprised when you saw this coming up?
Yeah, I'm having Giant Gonzalez flashbacks.
Well played.
I think Omos. But it was like similar what they did when they threw him in with Lashley. And they threw him in with Braun Strowman. It's more like with the Braun Strowman thing. Like, what are they going to do? There's like no way Omos is going to win. And they really made Omos almost dominate Braun Strowman until he came back and won. And I just can't see, especially if Brock Lesnar doesn't have respect for Omos. He's going to kind of go in there and do his own thing. And there's nothing that WWE could do about it.
Yeah. And Brian, I think your point is totally right, that Brock is just a certain kind of talent, and you putting in somebody who's raw like that, man, I just don't see it. Like Strowman and Omos actually intrigued me a little bit. I thought that was a decent pairing, but this is not. I mean, Lesnar should be an elite attraction, with an elite opponent. And no one sees Omos that way. I mean, I hope they don't pull the trigger on this. I really don't, but I don't know. But could you imagine if they put him over on Lesnar? Good Lord.
Yeah, that would.
No, I don't think that would happen.
No.
But again, that was the perfect scenario for them to build a guy and I hate to say it because it's like me, my guy carrying Cross, but wouldn't that have been the reason to give this guy this monster push that you want to do? That, you put him in the right situation and you give him a match with Brock Lesnar? There's supposed to be so much upside that with Triple H loving Cross to be, a future heavyweight champion. And it's he's probably not even going to be on the card, but somehow almost gets a match with Lesnar. It's just mind-boggling.
Yeah. And you should be working your way up to Brock Lesnar. And Omos has done nothing to earn a Brock Lesnar match at WrestleMania. No. Or a Brock Lesnar match on a pay-per-view, much less WrestleMania.
Yeah, I totally agree. So, yeah, well, I'll tell you what, we're going to step back, take another break, or we'll take our first break, actually. And when we come back, there's some interesting stuff going on in AEW right now, too. We've got the Revolution coming up, but the situation with TV is getting interesting. A couple of things have happened with that. So we are going to talk about that as we head into our break, or we come back from break. And don't forget, we're going to be giving away those tickets to the Vegas Toy Show with a photo op with Sergeant Slaughter, who's going to be joining us in hour number 2. So stick around, everybody, for more on the Mark Hoke Show, the best in pro wrestling news and entertainment. We will be right back.
Vegas Toy Show coming March 4th and 5th at the Ahern Hotel and Convention Center in Las Vegas. Vegas Toy Show features vendors and celebrities, including our friend Sergeant Slaughter. The WWF Hall of Famer will be joining the Vegas Toy Show. He's joined by Peter Cullen, Ron Perlman, Eric Estrada, and many more. Visit VegasToyShow.com for more information.
Celebrity guest presented by the Pop Shack, a House of Cars entertainment production.
This is the Mark Hoke Show.
The Mark Hoke Show.
Here again, your host, Mark Hoke.
And we are back on the Mark Hoke Show here on KDWN 101.5 FM. And just so everybody remembers, the 720 signal is going to be going away. So if you have been listening to us on 720 right now, as of the end of the month, 720 is gone, and we're going to be just exclusively on 101.5 FM. So please make sure that if you haven't reset your presets or anything like that, make sure you do that and enjoy all our great shows including the Mark Hoke Show, Sports X Radio, the Steve Sanchez Show, and so many others on 101.5 FM in crystal clear frequency modulation mode, as the kids like to say. Yeah, how about that? I pulled that, Brian.
It's good radio talk there.
Yeah, we got getting rid of the amplitude modulation and going to the frequency.
Okay.
That's how you do it.
Sounds good.
Yeah. So please remember to do that. So if you tune in to 720 next week, well, you're going to hear nothing but, Joe going to the bathroom, maybe. Something like that.
That's how good the sound is.
Yeah. Well, that's
relative, right?
It's staticky. Joe DeFalco, Brian Ronovech with me here on the Mark Hoke Show. We've got the best in pro wrestling news and entertainment. And by the way, I want to remind everybody as well, if you feel like betting on some wrestling, you want to make a little money with your wrestling knowledge, like for what we give you on this show as an amazing gift, go to betonline.ag. We need to go to markhokeshow.com first. Click on our link. That'll take you to betonline.ag. Then we get credit for it. And you can bet on wrestling. The betting odds are now up for the AEW Revolution pay-per-view, among many other things. So you can check that out. And, best part is you can put in up to $1,000 and get a 50% signing bonus. Wow. Or matching bonus. So not only am I giving you the knowledge to win, I'm also giving you $500 if you put in $1,000. I mean, come on, guys. What more? What can I do?
I was trying to get inside information on the Bullet Club against the Machine Guns, but Chris Bay would have none of it. I was very disappointed. The Impact pay-per-view, I had, we had a few of the Impact stars on over the past week and a half, and I kind of said something to Chris about those betting odds and couldn't get anything out of them because they had that 6-man match. By the way, just on that Impact card, no title changes happened that evening, but a lot of great matches. So make sure you check out No Surrender. I'm sure the replay is going to be up. And don't forget, you can still get down and see one of the TV tapings tonight at Samstown. So pretty cool stuff. Just go to impactwrestling.com. Now, speaking of TV, some intriguing stuff happened over the past week or so. And I'm curious to get your thoughts on this, gentlemen. AEW signed a deal with ESPN in Australia and New Zealand to distribute AEW. Now, of course, right now AEW is under the Warner Brothers Discovery banner with TNT and TBS, and the TV negotiations are coming up. We also had a situation happen where Warner Brothers Discovery is getting out of all the local sports programming. They're getting rid of it. So actually, like, for example, here in Las Vegas, one of the teams that's going to be affected by that is the Vegas Golden Knights, as AT&T Sportsnet, which is where they show the Knights games, is going to be East-Wa. So you will not be seeing the Knights after this year on AT&T Sportsnet. It's going to get a new home. So they're kind of getting away, saying they're losing money on the sports stuff. And I'm just curious, guys, with this deal that AEW signed with ESPN, and plus there's some feathers that were rubbed the wrong way with the whole Jay Briscoe thing. Any chance you think that AEW could possibly be headed under, and as much as I hate to say it, the Disney umbrella with, say, ESPN, ABC, or any one of their other family of networks? What do you guys think about the possibility of that? Brian, you're kind of sitting there thinking hard on this one.
Well, yeah. I mean, I just a lot of questions, really. I mean, it just depends on. I don't know if ESPN would want wrestling on their main networks. I mean, they're pretty full with college basketball, pro football. I mean, maybe in the summer, I guess it could make some sense on non-baseball days or something like that. But they have other options as well. I mean, they do have ESPN Plus, so I guess that's something that you could possibly see AEW on, or anywhere, if it's part of the Disney app or Disney Plus or something like that. I don't know. I have other questions before I can even say what I think, I guess.
Yeah, it's intriguing to think possibly on ABC. I think the Connors are in that 8 p.m. slot right now. Yeah.
Oh,
so
well.
yeah, exactly.
Forget that.
So, yeah,
Scratch that idea.
No, I don't know. I think what you have to consider, even though it was funny 2 weeks ago they had a really Dynamite had a terrible ratings night, but last week was a huge number for them. So, Joe, what do you think about that? Do you see the possibility that AEW would consider leaving TBS and TNT to join the Disney family of television stations?
I think they have been given great opportunities there, and it seems like they're supposedly doing the new thing with Adam Cole, I guess, the reality show. I think unless the dynamic just totally broke down, I can't see them going elsewhere. Live sports, I guess, from what I've been hearing and reading over the last couple of years, is one of the last opportunities for advertisers. So anything they could present live, in this day and age, because there's so much of the DVRs and people watching things streaming, that's why the XFL got people, and USFL. There's 2 spring leagues that both have national contracts now, and they have them because they're trying to present live programming. And I think, for AEW, I don't think you want to see if the pastures are greener on the other side. I think they have something good going where it seems like the relationship has been good. You don't want to ruin a good relationship. If the relationship's terrible, then obviously you're going to try to go out and try to find something better. But I don't know if they can find something better. And going on ESPN is it would be great. But again, on ESPN Plus, there's 9 million things. It's going to get lost in the shuffle. And for them to get advertisers, they need to be like, hey, look at this. We had a bad week. We only had 980,000 live viewers. So, that means a lot in the advertising world. But, I don't know. Because from what I understand, AEW doesn't make any money anyway, and they lose money every year. So, I guess if it's a situation where they can get rights fees through ESPN, they're going to do what's best for the company. But, as an outsider looking in, I can't believe that they could get a better deal than they have right now.
Yeah, I think the only temptation that I would see is you have to look at the numbers that you catch, that WWE is catching on Fox for SmackDown that are just so much better than what they see on USA Network for Raw. And I don't know, I would be tempted to at least put my toe in the water and just kind of see what the possibilities would be. I mean, I don't think, obviously, NBC Universal would probably not do it because of their relationship with WWE, but, would a CBS or an ABC be slightly intrigued by that? Maybe.
Well, I think it depends on, obviously, what night. If you were going to is there major demand for pro wrestling in prime time? I mean, I understand that it's worked pretty well on Fox, but is another major network like ABC, do the numbers indicate that, on Tuesday night or, whatever, would work really well Wednesday night rather, for AEW? Is that something that, they really think, are they going to do that much better than what Turner has, or what TNT, TBS has done? I agree with Joe. I think you've already built that relationship with Warner Brothers, and it certainly doesn't appear that anything has been wrong with it as far as that goes. For crying out loud, they named belts after the channels.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's already there,
Which I thought was a mistake, but that's just
of course. And I think dancing with ESPN, even on a distribution level, it definitely makes me wonder a little bit. But I would say, why even take that chance at this point?
Yeah. Well, we'll see. I was really fascinated with that ESPN deal in Australia. I know they're talking about wanting to do a streaming service as well. So there's some moving parts there as this TV deal gets ready to run out here very shortly. So we'll find out. We'll see what Tony Khan's got up his sleeve.
Well, their own network or something along those lines to me would be the better move than necessarily changing distributors or broadcasters.
Yeah. So I don't know. Man, you never know when the money starts flying and people start talking. So we'll see what happens with that. All right. Oh, we're going to head into break here again, but I got to say it would be fun to meet Sergeant Slaughter, wouldn't it? Brian, would you like to meet Sergeant Slaughter?
Definitely.
Joe, would you like to meet Sergeant Slaughter?
Yeah, so I can give him a piece of my mind.
Joe's still bitter about that from 1991. That's amazing. Oh, my God.
Is General Adnan going to be there?
That would be... Oh, my God. I'm trying not to die here. Well, guys, these guys won't, unless they hang out with me when I go to the Vegas Toy Show. But you can meet Sergeant Slaughter. That's right. We've got two-day passes for you, plus a photo op with Sarge we're going to give away right now. So here's the number you need to call. It's 702-257-5396. It's 702-257-5396. And we're going to take caller number 3. Whoever is caller number 3 is going to win that great photo op and the tickets to the show, which is going to be awesome too, by the way. You got a great chance to geek out with that. And there's going to be people there like Tom Wopat and Catherine Bach from the Dukes of Hazzard, Eric Estrada, Peter Cullen from Transformers, Ron Perlman from Hellboy. It's going to be a terrific show. So you want to check that out. So how about we head to break, and when we come back, we'll hopefully announce a winner, and we're going to give those tickets away. So stick around, everybody. We'll be right back here on the Mark Hoke Show, the best in pro wrestling news and entertainment. We'll be right back. Tired of the same boring food when you're out for breakfast or lunch? I'm Mark Hoke, and I have an idea for a different place to go with unique food you're sure to enjoy, and that's Unique Eats. Take some time out of your busy day and stop on in to Unique Eats, featuring celebrity chef Dominic Tedesco and his friendly staff. Whether it's a great start to your day with one of Unique Eats' amazing omelets, or lunch with his incredible sandwiches, pasta, and award-winning pizzas, you'll be in for a fantastic dining experience that won't break the bank. Unique Eats also features a smoothie bar and full vegetarian menu as well. Plus, if you need catering, you can count on Unique Eats no matter what the occasion. So what are you waiting for? Get on over to Unique Eats at 3100 South Durango, Suite 100, open daily until 3 p.m. Call them at 702-992-3038 or visit uniqueeatslv.com for their full menu and catering info. Break out of the same old routine and have a great meal at Unique Eats today.
You're listening to the #1 professional wrestling radio show in Vegas, The Mark Hoke Show.
The Mark Hoke Show.
Now, here again is Mark Hoke.
Man, I'll tell you, the things that I do for my listeners, I take good care of you guys out there. I really do. You know,
what a guy.
There's a lot of love, man.
Oh, yeah.
No, but seriously, you know, I mean, the show's been doing very well, and we certainly do appreciate all of you out there listening to it, you know, live or on our podcasts where they've been like 160 countries and territories. It's crazy. You guys are nuts listening to me, but I do appreciate it. And, of course, we got great people around us like Joe DeFalco from Future Stars of Wrestling. Right, Joe?
Yeah, I was wondering where your boy is. Is he on strike or something?
I had an issue there. We'll let you know. And Brian Ronovech from our good friends at Las Vegas Wrestling Scene, who I did an interview with, by the way.
Yes, you did.
That's going to be going up on Wednesday, I believe, Wednesday morning.
How was that?
Yeah, pretty good. Yeah. Pretty good.
Gerald's easy to talk to.
Yeah, Gerald's a righteous dude.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
So I had a great time with that. So that's going to be posted up. I think he said Wednesday at 6 in the morning.
Yep. LVWS Confidential.
There you go. So make sure you check that out.
Thank you for doing that, by the way.
Oh, absolutely. Always fun. By the way, I got another request to do an interview with a Canadian website. I've got more information about that. I think it's going to be 2 weeks from now. So once I get get everything totally nailed down, I'll let everybody know about that. But we had a winner. Mike Burke is going to be going to the Las Vegas Toy Show March 4th and 5th. Congratulations, Mike.
Way to go, Mike.
You got a photo op with the Sarge. I hope you might have to pay extra to get put in the Cobra Clutch, though, I think. I'm going to ask Sarge if he'll do that. I can't imagine it's fun.
I bet if he calls Sarge a maggot, he'll do it.
Oh, I think Sarge is going to make me do push-ups, and I need to do push-ups because I am so overweight right now. It's bad. It's bad. I'm cute, but just not quite there, to say the least.
You're not at your fighting weight?
No, not even close. Not even close. My fighting weight when I wrestled in high school was about 173. That was pretty good. I tried getting down to 65, and
no doubt
that hurt. That was painful. So I need to, Joe. Maybe I need to just start coming down to the FSW arena. Maybe. Look at Chris Bay. He used to be 100 pounds overweight. Now look at him. Really? I didn't think so. Yeah, but if you want to train to be a wrestler, or you of course just want to check out some amazing wrestling, go to fswvegas.com. Look at some of the guys that are out there. You got guys like Chris Bay and Jay Vidal and Killer Cross and Karrion Kross. A lot of great talent coming out of there. Zoe Stark. It's a lot of fun. So go to fswvegas.com. Yeah, but I
busy March too, Joe, right? For you guys?
What's that?
Busy March for FSW.
Yeah, we actually only did one show this month just because there's so much going on. So we got 3 set for next month. So we're looking good. I'm just reading a post, Matt Vandergriff, for our students that Tommy Dreamer after the meetings today is going to do a short seminar for the crew. So that's another reason to be part of FSW and not anywhere else in town. All the opportunities flow from us.
There you go. So check it out, fswvegas.com. Well, speaking of some opportunities, some people in London had about a minute to have an opportunity to go to Money in the Bank. Those tickets, guys, for the O2 Arena, which is around 20,000, sold out in 1 minute. Wow. 1 minute. You think they're not regretting putting that in a stadium at this point? I mean, that is insane.
Yeah.
That is insane. I was kind of surprised that they put it in the O2 Arena, to be honest with you. I figured they'd be looking at a stadium show on that. I mean, the fans in England and the United Kingdom are just so excited. We saw what happened to Clash of the Castle. So, guys, what are your thoughts about 1 minute on on that? That's nuts.
Yeah, wrestling obviously is huge.
I guess this.
Go ahead, Joe.
I was going to say, I guess the scalpers were out early.
Mm-hmm. that is a possibility, but that is an unreal happening. And now we're also hearing
they can always move it. I'm saying they can always move it. We've seen them where they didn't sell enough tickets here in Vegas, and they dropped down when they were supposed to do one of the shows at Allegiant I believe it was Money in the Bank, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Went to the Garden.
And I thought, wow, how are they going to sell out the Allegiant Stadium for this pay-per-view? And, sometimes they overestimate, sometimes they underestimate. So, it isn't like if they really, really feel like they could sell another 20, 30,000 seats, maybe they do move it.
That would be intriguing. There's another international event apparently coming up as the King and Queen of the Ring tournaments looks like they're coming back, and the rumor is now that those will be headed to Saudi Arabia for Queen and King of the Ring tournaments. So another possible pay-per-view for the Saudis. What do you think about that, Brian?
They pay a lot of money. Let's. I mean, that's just they pay a lot of money. That'll be interesting to see. I'd rather have the pay-per-views here, obviously, but it's hard to ignore the money for them.
Joe, what did you think of that when that news broke that they're talking about doing the King and the Queen of the Ring, WWE, of course?
I was about to jokingly say, well, that's obviously not happening in Saudi Arabia, a Queen of the Ring tournament, but I guess I'm incorrect. And, I remember everybody in the beginning was like, they can't do a pay-per-view there, they can't do this, they don't allow the women to wrestle. And, WWE said, relax, we're working on that and we're setting it up. And, they did what they said. And it's funny because I follow a little bit on the Live Golf and about with the Saudis and how it's blasphemy to, support them in any way. And then they showed a listing of like 20 of the biggest companies in the world that do business with the Saudis, and nobody's boycotting it, and nobody's not giving opportunities because Google and Uber and all these other places are supported by them, and they're investors in those companies. And it's like, they're making a lot of money. And the bottom line in business is making a lot of money. If somebody offered me $5 million, hey, Joe, we'd like to have an FSW show in Saudi Arabia. Yeah. I'm going to be like, no, we're going to pass on that. Let me see if we can get something going on State Line.
Yeah, so yeah, this
everybody's on their high horse. I'll tell you.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, I'll just say no matter where it is. I'm excited that King and Queen of the Ring would be getting its own pay-per-view. You do that show right, and it is a lot of fun. I always like King of the Ring.
Well, that's the thing. As you said, do the show right. They haven't done that show right in a long time, and that was one of the biggest pay-per-views ever. Was always you look forward to the King of the Ring. It was great. It was a great setup. And then it's kind of similar to the Survivor Series, how it kind of changed when everybody used to love the Macho Maniacs against the $1 Million Team, and they would set it all up, and it was actually on Thanksgiving night back in the day.
It was a blast. Sorry, Joe, I hate to cut you off because we've got to head to the break at the top of the hour. We'll maybe get back to that when we can, but coming up, hour number 2. The legend, Sergeant Slaughter, is going to be joining us on the show. What an awesome time this is going to be, especially for some 13-year-old kid. And I can't wait to tell this story on the air. Stick around. We'll be back with more on The Mark Hoke Show. Follow us on Twitter at Mark Hoke Show, Facebook, The Mark Hoke Show, markhokeshow.com, podcasts at markhokeshow.podbean.com, and all your favorite podcast outlets, and also on the Odyssey app. Stick around here on KDWN 101.5 FM for more of The Mark Hoke Show. We'll be right back.
Want more of The Mark Hoke Show? Follow us on Twitter at Mark Hoke Show, like us on Facebook at The Mark Hoke Show, and visit markhokeshow.com to keep up with everything happening with the show. And remember to check out all of our archive shows on YouTube at The Mark Hoke Show, and download our podcasts at markhokeshow.podbean.com and all your favorite podcast outlets. So join The Mark Hoke Show family today, and thanks for listening.